Today we are in Switzerland, but we are going to walk into Italy across the border through the forest. We're at the foot of Monte San Giorgio, which is about 1,000 meters high. We're going to walk up the mountain and then we're going to cross into Italy through the forest. The first part of this walk is quite steep, so we're not going to do too much filming going up the mountain, but then it should level out and become quite flat towards about halfway up when we start walking then towards the border. There's been some recent snowfall in the past 24 hours, so we'll probably encounter quite a bit of snow and ice, so we'll be watching where we step. You can see that the forest floor is covered in leaves. I don't know which is more slippy, the snow and ice or the leaves. There's so many, like a bed of leaves on the ground. The problem when you do these shots is you have to return for the camera. For anyone interested in doing this walk, it starts in the Swiss border town of Brusino Arsizio. But be warned, the first 40 minutes or so up the mountain is pretty much like this, just endless steps. It's not difficult, but it's not much fun. Then it gets really nice when you get up there, I believe.
Said it's not difficult, but that's when you're 2 meters high. I'm a bit shorter.
So this walk takes about 2 hours to reach Porto Ceresio, which is the border town on the Italian side of the border. So you can start in Brusino Arsizio and walk up Monte San Giorgio towards the forest border. When you cross the border, you'll see there's a village called Cal del Monte. It's more of a hamlet, and then from there you can wind down into Porto Ceresio. If you were to do it as a round trip, it's about 3 hours, fairly fast walking. You'd want to give yourself 4 hours to be sure that you make it back on time if you're on a deadline.
You can really see that no one walked here before us. Look at the snow. No footprints.
Just little animal footprints. Nobody is mad enough. The reason why we're making this video today is really to show the border crossing. I think it's quite fascinating to walk across a border through a forest between two countries. Kind of changes how you see a border. Normally when you cross a border, you cross on a road or on a railway track. It's kind of bizarre to cross a border through a forest where there's nobody around and you wouldn't know the border was there apart from a marker on the ground. So we'll have a look at what that looks like. We've almost reached the flatter part after the initial steep hike up. A little bit of information about signs in Switzerland. If you see white, red and white, it means the trail can be dangerous in places. Could be very dangerous or it could be just part of the trail. So this is talking about Monte San Giorgio and also towards Serpiano. So you kind of have to weigh up yourself, your level of fitness and preparedness if there's any dangerous parts. We've leveled off on the side of Monte San Giorgio, heading towards the Italian border. Monte San Giorgio is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's famous as one of the world's most important excavation sites for paleontology. There's loads of dinosaur bones buried in this mountain, and in fact there's a fossil museum in the nearby Italian village of Brusano. So that's quite close to Porto Ceresio, walkable actually if you're in the area. The fossils that are found around Monte San Giorgio are 240 million years old. That's the Triassic geological period. And you can actually visit excavation sites. Of course, you have to keep your distance and respect them, and you're not allowed to take anything with you. But you can see some of the excavation sites, I believe, where they have found fossils.
It's quite fascinating also if you think that the first excavation started in the 1850s, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was around the 1850s that the first paleontologists started excavating fossils on this mountain. This mountain, Mount San Giorgio, is 1,097 meters high, just over 1,000 meters for sure, and not much more than that, but I think it's 1,097 meters, so not super high compared to the Alps, but still high enough. We've reached a cable car station. This is an option for people who want to take a more direct route up the mountain rather than hiking up. And there's also a restaurant here that's closed at the moment. I think the cable car station is closed as well for the winter period, but there it is. We've reached Serpiano, which is a wellness resort. It's a hotel that's up here. This is the only bit of road before the border. And then we go back into the forest after the hotel, and we'll go through the forest to cross the border into Italy. It's a bit like The Shining. At this time of year, it's all closed up. Maybe there's a crazy Jack Nicholson character wandering around inside. We don't want to stick around to find out, so we'll keep moving. We're standing with Lake Lugano behind us, so Italy is sort of over this way behind our heads, and over the other side is the rest of Lake Lugano, or part of the lake. It splits into sort of two sections, and behind me directly is the town of Marcotte, which is voted many times as the most beautiful town in Switzerland. The border between Switzerland and Italy lies in the middle of the lake there, so on the right, that town Marcotte, that's in Switzerland, and on the left is the edge of Porto Ceresio. We're heading away from the hotel now, back into the forest. It's on the edge of the boundary of the hotel. Let us know in the comments if you know what kind of animal makes these tracks. They're quite big tracks. Something like maybe three hooves and claws. The snow makes progress a bit slower than expected. Normally we would do this walk a lot faster, but you have to really watch where you put your feet, so it really slows us down. It doesn't really look like too many people have walked here, so it's a lot of fresh, sort of wet, slippy snow. But we'll push on and find the border. We're almost there. We're approaching the border. This is one of the last parts of Switzerland for these trees here before we enter into Italian sovereign territory. And here we are, arrived at the Swiss border, better late than never, and we see the S for Switzerland. Not sure what the numbers represent. On the other side, stepping into Italy now, you see the I for Italy. 1929, the year I guess this stone was put up. So strange to have a picnic bench literally right on the border. So those yellow signs are in Switzerland, and across this stone where the picnic bench is Italy. I'm standing in Switzerland at the moment, and when I step across that border, that invisible border, there's a completely different country, completely different laws. There's some really strange laws in Switzerland that won't apply to me if I step across this border. So after 10 p.m. you're not allowed to pee standing up, which is a bit of a strange one, but yeah, that's apparently true. And you can't hang your laundry outside on a Sunday. That's another Swiss law. So if I jump into Italy, I can hang my laundry out on a Sunday, and I can pee standing up after 10 p.m. as far as I know. If I jump back into Switzerland, I cannot recite poetry while skiing. That's a pretty weird one, yes, but I cannot recite poetry while skiing in Switzerland. But I can recite all the poems I want if I ski in Italy. Isn't it funny how we have such different laws between two different countries, and what a country even is? I'm standing one foot in Switzerland, one foot in Italy. I have one foot in both countries on an invisible line that's on a map, but here it is in the middle of the woods.
Switzerland? Italy?
Switzerland? Italy? Switzerland? Italy?
I could do that the whole night.
We've crossed the border and we're continuing now to the first little hamlet of Cal del Monte. It's a tiny hamlet, there's not much there other than a few houses, and then we'll head down into Porto Ceresio. Just leaving Cal del Monte, and we'll follow quite a long road now down to Porto Ceresio. Probably another 40 minutes walk. It's getting kind of dark now, but we have the torch with us. Our feet are quite wet from all the snow, which is a bit unpleasant, but still worth the effort that we've made today. We hope you enjoyed our epic border crossing as we cross the Swiss-Italian border through the forest of Monte San Giorgio. Please like, subscribe and comment on our video. See you in the next video.